What if I told you the most expensive decision in modern Lakers history is already rolling downhill, louder than the crowd, heavier than the banners, and all it needs is one phone call to turn this season into a documentary? What if the next 30 seconds decide whether LA stays a museum of memories or becomes a wrecking ball aimed straight at June? This is Lakers News Fan Report, where we don't do lukewarm takes, we do cold facts and hot possibilities. Hit that subscribe, drop a like right now, and stay till the end, because I'm laying out the full blueprint, the cap math in plain English, 3 trade frameworks, 2 playoff-proof lineups, the hidden clause nobody is talking about, and the exact timeline that makes Vegas sweat. If you click away, you'll hear about it secondhand. If you stay, you'll get the story before it breaks. Here's the drumbeat coming from inside the building. A $101 million decision hanging over the franchise like a neon sign. This isn't a rumor tossed into the wind. This is a conversation with teeth. It's money, minutes, legacy, and the uncomfortable truth that windows don't care about feelings. When you're this close, you either push history or history pushes you. Strip away the nostalgia and ask the basketball question. What makes the Lakers unguardable in April and unbearable in May? It's not just star power, it's star geometry. It's gravity you can feel from the nosebleeds, mixed with a half-court machine that turns good defenders into traffic cones. The front office is staring at a chessboard with 2 queens and realizing you can't keep them both on the same diagonal forever. One has to become the future's compass. The other has to buy you the runway to land the plane. Listen to the weak signals that always come before the storm. Agents taking calls they swore they wouldn't take. Role players told to stay ready while rotations get weird. A sudden leak about future flexibility. A quiet dinner. A louder denial. And then silence. The kind of silence that makes insiders sit up straight. That's not noise. That's sequencing. Timeline matters. There's the November window. Soft buyers, hard talk. There's the December 15 switch. Newly signed players become movable. The league loosens its belt. And there's the mid-season crease, where a single injury, a losing streak, or a surprise contender transforms no way into send the terms. If you're going to swing a move this seismic, you do it when the market panics and the math bends. Now zoom in on fit. Think of a half-court engine who punishes mismatches for 48 minutes, who drags a defense into a blender and then drinks the smoothie. Pair that with a defensive spine that doesn't need a scheme to be elite, just a plan and 5 voices on a May string. The ideal build is not an all-star team, it's an unsolvable equation. Pace without turnovers, size without sludge, shot creation without ego. That's the North Star this conversation is chasing. There's also the human piece nobody wants to touch. Handovers in sports are messy. The greatest of greats don't step aside. They get moved aside by time, by money, by a front office trying to steal one last era. And if you think LA is scared of the big goodbye, you haven't watched this franchise long enough. We celebrate the statue, then we chase the next parade. Cold? Maybe. True? Absolutely. Think lineups, not headlines, closing 5 that lives. In matchups, jumbo wingspans, a downhill guard, a screener who's a shot maker, and a spacer who guards up a position. Imagine late clock offense that doesn't force hero ball. Just lean, repeatable actions. Spain, pick and roll, 5-out slice, empty corner ghost, short roll playmaking that turns help into free points. The blueprint is on the whiteboard. The question is who the blueprint is built around. If you're hearing the same whispers I am, you already know this isn't about a mid-level tweak. This is about a franchise redefining pivot, one that hurts today and hunts June. A pivot that trades yesterday's aura for tomorrow's avalanche. A pivot that asks the most sacred question a contender can ask. Are we brave enough to let go to grow? All right. Deep breath. Because the name at the center of the $101 million question is LeBron James. And the gravitational point of the rebuild while contending plan, the player the organization wants to tilt the floor around for the next decade, is Luka Doncic. Say it out loud. Let the shock pass. This is not a slander of greatness. It's the calculus of championships. On one side, the most complete offensive maestro of his generation, still a walking 38-8 on any given night, a leader who built this era and dragged it forward. On the other, a heliocentric savant entering his absolute prime, a usage magnet, who turns mismatches into math problems and pick and rolls into court poetry. The idea is simple and ruthless. Flip the timeline, build the room around the younger axis, and turn a legend's value into the infrastructure that wins now and sustains later. How would that even work? Framework 1. The clean pivot. You construct. Outgoing salary to match, you attach premium draft equity, you recruit a third team that needs size and shooting, and you convert hero ball minutes into scalable offense. Incoming pieces around the new axis. A secondary creator who defends point of attack, a stretch big who screens like a wall and shoots like a wing, and a connector wing who can live at the nail. On paper, it's boring. On the floor, it's oxygen framework. 2. The crown for the kingdom. You send the $101 million headline to a contender that believes it's 1 star away. In return, you ask for the unsexy stuff that wins in May. Switchable length, reliable 38% from deep on volume, and a big who can rebound his area and survive on an island for 2 seconds. You keep your blue chippers, you keep your future firsts viable, and you build a rotation that doesn't collapse when the whistle tightens. Framework 3. The triangle trade. One team chases ratings and rings today, another unloads good players on bad contracts. You play surgeon and take only what fits your 5-man closing DNA. The byproduct, optionality. If the plan around the new axis needs a rim-protecting 5, you have it. If it needs a bully wing for the Celtics series, you have it. If it needs a bench scorer who can carry the second unit, you have it. The point is not names, it's roles. Hey, let's talk basketball. With the new axis on the ball, you live in high middle pick and roll and empty corner variations until the defense begs for mercy. You hunt the weakest defender every trip, bring his man to the dance, screen until you get the switch, and then cook. You spam Spain action late, invert the pick and roll with a guard screening for a wing, and punish help with skip threes to 40% shooters. When teams go zone, you flatten them with a middle flash and short roll playmaking. When they go switch everything, you post the mismatch and spray. This isn't a playbook, it's a punishment. Defense? You build it like a hard hat. Point of attack dog at the top, a low man who lives in the paint early, and a 5 who plays at the level for 1 beat and sprints back to verticality. The new axis isn't a stopper, but you don't need him to be. You hide him smart, you trap selectively, and you let length eat passing lanes. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is 5 stops in 6 trips when the building is shaking. Now the uncomfortable part, destinations. If the $101 million headline goes to South Beach, the fit is instant: spacing, shooting, structure, and a coach who weaponizes veterans. If it goes back home to Ohio, it's a storybook ending, with 2-man game poetry and banners within reach. If it lands in the Bay, it's a basketball thesis on synergy and spacing. Every path extracts value you spend on the plan you're building here. None of them are easy. All of them are loud. Cap reality check without the jargon. You can't pay everyone forever. You choose your ceiling, then you choose the pieces that help you touch it. The $101 million number isn't the problem. The opportunity cost is. If that chunk of the cap becomes 3 starters who fit the axis like a glove, that's how you turn a great offense into a parade truck. If it becomes dead money and vibes, you've set the franchise on fire. That's why this front office is slow-walking the sprint. Every misstep here echoes for years. Culture talk because rings hate chaos. This only works if the locker room is told the truth and given a map. Roles defined, touches explained, film sessions that turn blame into solutions. The new Axis doesn't need worship, he needs structure. The outgoing legend doesn't need spin, he deserves respect. You don't leak shade, you don't burn bridges, you move like a franchise that understands legacy and isn't afraid of tomorrow. Matchups, because you don't make a move like this for February. Against Denver, you need two non-negotiables, a big who can absorb body blows for 7 games, and a guard who makes their second defender choose between death by lob or death by corner 3. Against Minnesota, you need strength on the glass and a way to pull Gobert into space every other trip. Against Boston, you need length on the wings and late clock shot creation that doesn't stall. The new Axis stress tests all 3. That's the point. Rotations that breathe. Stagger the Stars' minutes like this: 8 to 10 with the starters, 5 with a bench unit built entirely around his gravity, close with the best 5 regardless of contract. Surround him with a screener who sprints, a floor spacer who cuts, and a wing who can dribble twice without turning over. Give him 2 possessions of ISO per quarter to keep the defense honest, and build the rest on read and react. It's not complicated. It's discipline. What about the kids? This plan is candy for young legs. The Axis commands doubles. The youth eat in space. You give them simple jobs: sprint, screen, cut, rebound. You tank their decision trees from 6 branches to 2, and you watch their efficiency spike. The development curve doesn't flatten, it rockets. That's how you build a 5-year window instead of chasing one magical spring. Psychology of the fan base, because you matter. Saying goodbye to a pillar hurts, it should. But if the choice is clinging to yesterday until tomorrow evaporates, that's not loyalty, that's fear. The respectful version of this pivot is brutal and beautiful. Honor the era, maximize the value, and dare to believe you can love the next thing just as much. That's not betrayal. That's the Lakers. Receipts you can check in April: turnover, rate under 13%, free throw differential positive by 4 attempts a game, 3 players above 38% from deep on 5 attempts, and a top 6 defense by points per possession allowed in clutch minutes. If those numbers hit, you're not competitive. You're inevitable. Is there risk? Only all of it. This can blow up. Egos can clash. Chemistry can wobble. The market can harden. But the risk of standing still is bigger, nastier, and crueler. The West doesn't wait. The calendar doesn't care. And hanging an era on the wall before you bring home the next banner is the most Lakers thing the Lakers could ever do. Here's my fan with a calculator verdict, heart on sleeve. If the path to the new Axis costs you depth you can replace and draft equity you can manipulate, you do it. If it costs you the spine of the defense and the shooting that makes the math work, you walk. The only sin here is muddling through. Either commit to the future so loudly the league can hear it from practice, or double down on the present and ride it to the end. Half measures lose in 6. You wanted content? Here are the promises I'm keeping the rest of this week if you're tapped in. A full cap map you can screenshot, 3 Who Says No frameworks with pros and cons, a film room breakdown of how the Axis beats Switch, everything in under 7 seconds, and the playoff flowchart that shows you exactly who we want in rounds 1 and 2. No fluff, just the plan, and now the truth wrapped in the honesty you deserve. Until ink hits paper, it's speculation, educated, intense, and relentless, but still speculation. My opinion as a fan: if the numbers align and the roles click, pivot. If the price crosses the line from brave to reckless, breathe and wait. But make no mistake, the conversation is real, the stakes are enormous, and the Lakers are not built to tiptoe. Drop your take in the comments. Would you flip the $101 million headline for a generational Axis in a roster that fits like a glove? Which framework makes you sleep at night, and which one gets you out of your seat? I'll be in there with you, frame by frame, number by number, building the thing we all want, a purple and gold June that doesn't ask for miracles, just execution. Stay locked. This is Lakers News Fan Report. If this goes the way the whispers suggest, we won't just cover history, we'll call it before it calls us.